Oh, hell yeah. Welcome back to the Mad Monday podcast, brought to you, as always, by 4 and 20 Pies, the perfect at-home snack for watching rugby league. Myself, Tino Fa'asua Manaiawi, and Eden Whenua Keezy joining you this week. G'day, Keezy.
Yeah. G'day, fellas.
Whereabouts did you watch it from?
The Waz?
Yeah.
I actually watched it at my place. It was one of those things where I run an iCalendar on my smartphone. I live my life by it. And then just out of chance, I clicked on Saturday. This is on Friday, and it said I had nothing on. Yeah. Usually we're either commentating the Warriors, there's some sort of social event, and I was like, hit up all my mates, hit you up, you're already going to the game. I had missed out on tickets.
Sell out.
Watched it at home just with my wife, who was just on her phone. And
checking her fantasy team.
And then I was like, hey, babe, like, at halftime I gave her a bit of a pep talk. I was like, if we're watching the Warriors, you know it's a big deal for me. Can you, like, just pretend to get in behind it? And so the second half she put her phone away.
Yeah.
And then started going too far with it. Like, and I'm like, look, this is just regular play in the middle of the field. Like,
I can see exactly how she would have taken that. Like, oh, you want me to be engaged in this there? I'm going to make this such a miserable experience for you that you never asked me to do this again.
But she was quite offended because I was like, oh, shit, next time I just need to go to the pub and watch it.
Yeah.
And then she took that as, oh, so you'd rather be at a pub by yourself with a whole lot of people you don't know watching the game than here with this beautiful smoked barbecue ribs I made for you.
And you were like, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, kind of. But that's how I watched it. So not my most enjoyable sort of watching situation. I massively wish I'd got in on the work tickets.
Yes.
Because that's what you did, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Next time sing out if I'm not on commentary.
Yeah, I will. But
because Lucy wants to go to a game as well. So.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely do that. But it's it's first in, first serve around here. I got to be honest with you. If anyone took your tickets, it's Matt Heath, because that's the second time he's ever been to a game.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And so he was there with the other Pinot Noirs.
I think ever since he's invented this whole Pinot Noirs thing, which by the way I love, I think it is a great way to sum up these weird, very wealthy people who are strangely into our game.
Yeah.
Ever since that's all come about, and he's right in behind the wires now.
Yeah. They rang me on Friday morning on the Matt and Jerry show
I heard that,
to discuss this. And I said the same thing to them that I said to Matt on the podcast last week, on the Agenda podcast, was it's gentrification.
It massively is.
It is borderline cultural appropriation. You've seen the house prices go up in our neighbourhood, and you've decided that all of a sudden you want to buy one. You never wanted to come here when people were getting stabbed on sidewalks, but now all of a sudden that it's the in suburb to be in, everyone wants to move in here.
Yeah.
But where do we go? Like, are we allowed to stay here? I just don't.
We're going to go further out, man. We get pushed further and further out.
I know, that's right. And then, I don't know, what are we going to be supporting ice hockey next?
And then guess what? That place they bought in your neighbourhood, they're going to bowl it over and build 20 townhouses on it.
Yeah, and now you've got to live in one of those townhouses and pay their bloody mortgage. It's bullshit.
This is bullshit, you're right.
It is bullshit.
Fuck the Pinot Noirs.
I am presuming you haven't listened to the Agenda podcast that we recorded this morning.
I've never heard of it.
And so funnily you should mention that. If you also haven't heard of it, listening at home, you can download it now wherever you get your podcast, which is probably where you're listening to this one. And I'd highly recommend that, because you get first access to stories like this one I'm about to tell you that I told Matt Heath this morning, and that it was that I wanted to confess to a sin. I left the game early.
Wow, you didn't see Golden Point.
I left with 2 minutes to go.
I know why you left early though.
Yes, because I had to get to the concert.
Yeah.
And as you know, as anyone knows who goes to Warriors games, getting out of Mount Smart Stadium is an absolute nightmare.
It is, especially because when you're commentating the game, we get a car park at the back, which seems like a real great thing, but it's actually a piss take. It takes an hour just to get out of the car park.
Out of the car park, because people are still walking out and they use the road that goes into the car park to walk up. It's fine. The thing is, if you go to one of those games, your options for parking are very limited. So you can either pay one of the steel mills across the road to park there. If they ask for your car keys, don't give them to them. They say that often they try and move cars around. No.
Do they not?
No, they just take your shit.
Oh my God, yeah, that's such a good point.
But some of the we went for the Rotary Club. We were like, you know what? I trust these guys.
It's an old brand in New Zealand, well known, established.
They didn't have FPOS, but you could bank transfer them. So I was like, sweet, let's do that. We parked in there, and then we were able to make a hasty escape. And we made a point of saying, this is the quickest we've ever gotten out of Mount Smart. And granted, it's the first time we've ever left early, but even then, who was like, what the hell?
So-
and so I checked my app. Oh, the game's gone to extra time. I left, literally there was 2 minutes left on the clock when I started walking out of the stadium.
Yeah.
Those last 8 points that the Warriors scored in regulation were scored within 63 seconds.
Isn't that just like that's what happens the first time you try to leave a Wars game early?
I am so grateful that they didn't win that game.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shitter of an extra time, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think, let's start with that. I think that a lot of Golden Point finishes do end up as shitters. There's a lot, it just becomes real messy. Both teams just trying to get into position to snap off a kick, which is heavily contested. And so Joey Johns was talking about we should do golden try, which I quite like.
Fuck, you could be there all day, though. Like, you're watching the Tigers playing the Dragons, for example, and they're both shit.
And a 4-all draw.
Or the Titans or something. Yeah, and they've battled all game just to get a try.
Yeah, I know. I just think that it's a bit too many times you see it go to golden point and it just sucks.
Maybe we're going to do that thing where every 5 minutes a player's taken off.
Yeah, until you got 3 dudes playing ball rush, basically. Yeah, we've talked.
Are you fucking joking? A fire alarm? Are you serious?
Okay, sounds like there's a fire alarm going on in the studio. So this is as good a time as any to take a break. Come back. We'll pick up the podcast if we don't die in a blazing inferno.
Oh, before we go. Oh, fuck, it is a fire. Yeah, we're going to carry.
Right,
Thanks, 4 and 20. We'll be back soon.
All right, we're back in the building now. Seemed like some sort of something stuck in the toaster sort of situation. I don't really know.
I don't know what it is, but like if you work in a big office like this, it used to happen when I worked at Sky.
Yeah.
You had to wait for the fire engine to come, and then they would switch the alarm off.
Yeah.
It's a fucking runaround, I tell you that.
Oh, it's a massive runaround, but, you know, safety's no joke, Chris. And
No,
we take it very seriously here at the Alternative Commentary Collective.
We certainly do. That's why we gathered in the designated fire area when there's a fire, aka the pub around the corner. And then just sat there for half an hour.
And then came back in here. To continue breaking down the Warriors game. Which
we're still doing that.
I thought that the handling errors kind of killed me. And despite the fact that it was a draw, I wouldn't say that we lost the game on... I mean, obviously the Tohu one at the end is the one that'll catch all of the headlines.
Yes.
But to me, the one that really killed me was Chance was in a tackle, and as he went to ground, he just popped an arm free. It was miraculous.
It was an amazing offload.
And then it just booped Wade Egan in the nose.
But and that's not a Chance issue. It's not a Wade Egan issue. Wade is doing what all dummies do, looking where the setup is.
Yeah.
And it just so happened to be the split second that his head was facing the wrong way.
Yeah, but to watch it, you were like, if that goes to hand, I feel like it could have been similar to the DWZ try that tied it up.
Yes.
Because that one there was Barnett just standing in the tackle, getting an offload away. And then, this is the Sean Johnson one I'm thinking of, was where the defense did exactly what Wade did. They turned off for a second. And I think that's what would have happened there. So I think we're a little unfortunate there. The handling errors were a little sloppy. Not as bad as they have been recently. I thought last week they were much worse. But like Webby said at the end of that game, it was just the fact that we even tried to come back from that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of people were leaving the grounds.
To be honest, man, it was a pretty unenjoyable watch for 65 to 70 minutes of it. Like, our handling errors, like Jackson Ford had been having such a good season, and he just could not catch anything.
Yeah.
The passes that he was dropping were like pretty much on his chest, so I really don't want that to come back and be a factor of his game because he's been so excellent.
Yeah.
We had Tohu's drop. Obviously, Roger had a bit of a mozzer out there. He dropped a few.
Yeah, he did.
Which is very out of character, and obviously we massively let him off with that.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty sloppy game. Our defense is probably the worst I think I've seen of the season so far. Manly's left side kept just doing a skip pass out to Tommy Tillau, and he was always in space. They scored a couple of tries down there early. DCE is in just like amazing form at the moment. Opened the scoring obviously with a double.
Yep.
Didn't see that shit coming. So overall, it wasn't, and it's not just because I was at home with my wife who was pretending to care.
Yeah.
It was genuinely quite an unenjoyable game of footy until the end of the game.
Yeah, conditions were bad as well. It was raining. There was like a swirling rain that was coming down as well. Jazz did his hammy. He scored that miraculous try, and then on the way off, I mean, it looked pretty bad. I was watching him get escorted off by the trainers.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get off quicker because the play was going on, and he couldn't get off the field quick enough to get, I think it was Jacob Laban, back on the field. And so he all of a sudden had to start running, and then when he got to the sideline, he just sat down on the sideline and was just like, done. Couldn't move again. They pretty much had to carry him off. I don't know how much stock to put into this, but I've heard rumours that it's come off the bone.
Yeah, there was a lot of, it's definitely come off the bone chat in our Mad Monday group.
Yeah.
Because one of the members of our group might have been in the Kuri Lounge at the same time as some other Warriors.
Yeah.
The NRL physio, who's like my go-to with all injuries on Instagram, he's like, oh, hopefully just a minor strain, could be back playing in a few weeks. I don't think that is the case. If you can't walk and you're just sitting down.
Nah, it looked pretty bad. And it looked worse than Bunty's one, and Bunty's supposed to be out for like 6 weeks. So that means, I mean, you're listening to this probably on a Monday, probably on a Tuesday before the team lists have come out. It does change the complexion of the bench now all of a sudden because, you know, Marata, I think, still out. Now
We've had a lot
Bunty's
of
out.
injuries.
A lot of injuries. CHT still coming off the bench. Dylan Walker's been out. So it's going to be a lot of like...
Hot tamale.
It's going to be hot tamale, getting a lot of minutes. I think Zion Maiu, who I thought had a great game for the New South Wales Cup just before because I watched that game at the ground before then. He had a great preseason. By all accounts, hasn't been like lighting the world on fire in New South Wales Cup this year, but I think he looked great.
And when you factor in, like, obviously, Lussick's out as well, suspended.
Yes.
CHT's okay, but both Dylan Walker and Jazz are out. Bunty is out. Marata is out. That is our entire bench. Now, fortunately, Jacob Laban is this amazing diamond we've discovered, who will probably be pretty raw, make a few dumb plays, drop a few balls here and there. Our bench, I'm going to be very interested to see the team list tomorrow night because I think it's going to be, they're going to have to debut someone new, right?
I even think that the bench that they name tomorrow is most likely not going to be the bench.
It's going to be bullshit.
It's going to be a bullshit bench, yeah.
Jazz will be on there.
Because I think they disguise any rookies that they're going to debut.
Just put them in the reserves.
Because they don't want to say, oh, hey, Jacob Laban's going to debut this week.
Yeah.
And then all week, you got, you know, guys like you in the media.
Yeah, me.
Hitting them up.
Yeah.
And then
trying to get a scoop.
And then sort of taking the gloss off it. So I reckon don't put too much stock into whatever bench they name tomorrow, but it's going to be interesting to see how they run it.
It's just like Tohu Harris. How old is he? Like a million?
33.
So the amount of injuries we are getting, I would have loved to have seen Tohu Harris be able to like reduce his minutes a wee bit this season at the start, and so that he's fresh for the end of the season. But there's no way that's ever going to happen because we are just dropping like flies.
Yeah.
And like we've got we always use the phrase on the commentary, an embarrassment of riches in the forward pack.
Yeah.
But you do until it's all gone.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think we've got an embarrassment anymore.
No, we've just got riches.
Yeah. In fact, we had a humiliation at the start of the season.
Yeah, exactly. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and now we've just got a humble amount of, you know.
Yeah, we've got a regular NRL team's worth of forwards now.
We get a little bit in savings. Like if the car blows up tomorrow, we'll be able to cover it. But like we're not wealthy by any stage.
No, we've got our Kiwi Saver with Jacob Laban.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like real don't touch now, that's for the future situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am a bit worried about our health yet again because our health kind of hampered us last year. One other thing I noticed, our right side, and it's probably because every week we've had a different lineup there, but our right side attack is still not clicking at all.
It's not where it was.
The final 10 minutes where we were desperate to come back in that game, like we weren't at all trying to use our... It turned into another situation where it seemed like we were just putting up bombs and doing weird kicks and shit and trying to do that whole hero play to get the win situation rather than sticking to our shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just still not clicking yet.
It's not what it was when we went on that run last year. But, like you say, different dudes in every week. It's probably going to be hard to get it going. So, excuse me, I'm just dying over here of a mystery illness that not even a doctor can describe or diagnose.
Yeah.
I've got a disease brewing in me that could end humanity. Next week we play the Dragons, who, you know, I don't really know what to make of the Dragons.
Oh, there's about 6 teams. I don't know what the hell's going on with these 6 teams either. Like, are they good or are they shit? Can you make up your mind?
I want them to be shit, but I don't know if they are. So, yeah, that one's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't think that's going to be the game where we get everything back clicking again.
Is that game here, by the way, the Dragons, is that this Friday at 8 o'clock? Is that at Mount Smart time? It is, isn't it? Friday at 8.
Ooh.
That seems like a Mount Smart time. Producer Adam, you just have a quick geeze if that's all good.
It is this Friday. It is at 7:55, and it is an away game.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So I don't have to go to Mount Smart.
Nope, you'll be in this very studio, myself and yourself commentating that one, as you said, live from 7:55 p.m. on Sky Sport 9 this weekend, and hopefully we can get clicking a little bit more.
How's your how's your voice going?
It's back. Time for a quick break while I have a quick drink of water, and we'll be back with the stonker of the round.
We're gonna have so many breaks this episode.
All right, back from a fire break and a medical event, and now it's time for a stonker of the round. And it had to be last night's game, Raiders vs Titans, 21-20.
Can I just say before we delve into this that I watched this at the pub after drinking approximately 10 to 12 beers.
Yes.
And then having 2 jugs at the pub.
Yeah.
And the TV was also not in my direct eye line, it was off to the side. So I just want to preface that before I do some in-depth analysis on this game.
I just think that this is one of those ones where it's like, yes, the result was a stonker, 21-20.
Yeah, and the kick from the sideline from Kelly
Brian Kelly.
to send it to Golden Point, that was a
Incredible.
stonker.
That was an absolute stonker, yeah.
Yeah.
But there were periods of this game where it's like, Jesus Christ, am I really watching Raiders Titans on a Sunday night?
Yeah, it's clearly a Sunday night and I'm desperate for some footy.
Yeah.
Even though I've just watched 7 games over the weekend.
Yeah, and this is what the NRL does so well. You watch that 6 o'clock game, and then all of a sudden you're watching the next one, because you're under the blankets, a cold Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
You got a pizza coming.
Oh, do you have pizza?
Yeah.
Yum.
I know, parked up on the couch, getting into the Export Ultras.
How good. Was it, because any game where the Titans this season score 20 points makes me think, oh, God.
Yeah.
Like, how did they do that? Were they still doing that classic thing where they just freak out, give it to David Fafita, then freak out, give it to Kieran Foran,
There was a
kind of
bit
do fuck all? I actually, shout out to Alofiana Khan Pereira at the end, who scored both tries, and they finally utilised his speed.
Yeah.
He's so quick.
He is very quick. He was one of the ones that last year everyone was saying he's going to be, have a breakout season, and he kind of did. But not to the degree that everyone was saying that he was going to. The Titans were in disarray. They had AJ Brimson starting in the number 4 jersey, but playing 5'8". There was just a whole bunch of...
Oh, and Ben Stiller got injured too. His knee was a bit fucked as well, Preston.
And so there was like a lot of... issues gambling on that game, is how I'd put it. Because you look at it and you're like, they're going to get absolutely humped.
Because the Raiders have been so good.
Yeah, because the Raiders have been so good, but I haven't really believed in the Raiders.
See, they're another team in that 6 of mine, probably
Yeah.
the best of the lot. The Eels are in there.
Yeah.
To be honest, the Cowboys, I don't know if they're good or shit.
Dragons.
The
definitely.
Dragons, Manly, beating Penrith, drawing with us, but then just getting the shit kicked out of them by the Dragons.
Your Honour, I would like to submit the West Sydney Tigers.
Oh my God, are they good or not? Has Benji resuscitated them with his golf game on the weekend or not?
Or are they half as good as the Dragons that we also think was shit? I don't know. It's just so hard to tell.
Which is excellent, right? I mean, it's great that you're not watching the Crusaders play the Waratahs and you know what the result is going to be once upon a time, not this
Yeah,
season,
that's right.
obviously. But it's really nice to watch a game, and because I've just stopped trying to pick the winner.
Yeah.
I have had about 10 multis just ruined this year. I don't think I have a single bet where I've chosen the outcome correctly.
Yeah, right. Well,
I'm just going tries now.
yeah. Well, I go the same game multi, three legs, and I'll go a try scorer.
Right.
I'll go even points.
Yes, of course.
And
a
then
little
I'll,
bonus one.
And then I'll pick either like an over-under on the total points
Right.
spread based on how good both teams I think are.
Oh, yeah. So if the Cowboys are playing who like to put on a lot of points,
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be massive.
That's right. But like you say, there's those 6 teams who you just Dr. and Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at the moment.
Yeah.
But if you look at anyone's Supercoach or fantasy team this season, anyone who's doing well has a bunch of Raiders in there.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just this bizarre team that at the start of the season you couldn't have picked who the starting lineup was going to be. People were picking KO Weeks as the starting standoff, and it's now been Ethan Strange, and hasn't he been a revelation?
He's been excellent. And the reason the top teams have got the Raiders in their team is because they've named these 5 guys who are all bargain basement 200K guys.
Schiller, Hosking.
Yeah, like Hosking, for example. He was slightly expensive because he'd been at the Panthers, but Smithies was one
Smithies,
who was
sorry,
playing
yeah.
80 and tackling his ass off. He was like 300K.
Danny Levi.
Danny Levi at hooker. I had Xavier Savage. Schiller's the new winger who you pretty much have to have because he's about to make a stack of cash and looks the good. Scored 2 tries.
Made 155K this week.
Oh, ridiculous, man. And then the other fella is the other guy in the back line who I can't remember.
No, I don't have him either. Oh, Matt Timoko you got to have as well. He's a gun too. So the team is just bizarre the Canberra Raiders, I can't get a read on them at all. Jamal Fogarty, have thought has been one of the standout halves this season.
He's been
far.
so solid, eh?
Yeah, he's been excellent. For whatever reason, whenever the commentators say his name, my missus says it back to the TV like gobbling at a turkey.
Oh, really?
It's just the way they say it. It's like Pappenhausen or Fogarty.
Fogarty. And I love too that John Fogarty, he used to play for the Titans.
Yeah.
And then it was just another classic example of those shit teams just letting good players and I shouldn't say too much because the Warriors have a great history of doing this.
Alakator.
But you know what I mean? And Isaiah Papali'i,
Yep.
two of the best back rows in the game. But they just have this habit of letting these guys go. They go to a place that's half decent. Like the Raiders aren't amazing.
Yeah.
And then he turns into a really, really solid half.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Well, look what we did for Reece Walsh. But I just think that this game, yes, obviously the result was a stonker. You're so right about those sort of 6 teams in that corridor of uncertainty. You don't know if they're good, you don't know if they're bad. But it makes for entertaining watching.
It certainly does. And to be honest, the reason I wasn't too fussed at being able to see the TV is because it's the Raiders and the Titans.
Yeah, that's right.
But then I ended up glued to it for the sort of last 20 minutes in extra time.
Yeah, locking in.
Because it was quite entertaining.
Yeah.
So, that was definitely the stonker of the round.
Yeah, it was. Moving on to some other key talking points from the round. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. And it sort of plopped onto our radar from a content point of view last week. Taylor May.
Yeah.
I know you were thinking about getting the same tattoo, getting key across your throat.
Yeah. Carry on.
So then the story comes out that they're considering dropping him, the Penrith Panthers are.
Are they?
Yeah, Taylor May. And then it's like, well, why? What has he done? You can't drop someone for a throat tattoo, can you? Surely. But then a video comes out on his Instagram story of him in an Audi R8 doing 96 kilometers an hour through a residential suburb. And then you hear Taylor May is being dropped.
Oh, is he a dick?
What, the guy with May tattooed on his throat, and a broken love heart underneath his one of his eyes, and then the word pain written under the other one.
Yeah, but
do you think he might be a bit of a dick?
The NRL is full of dudes with horrifically bad tattoos.
Yes.
Adam Reynolds has got what's the name on his knee? Post Malone on his leg.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ola Kawatu, shout out to him. I know he loves his family. The font of the tattoo down his
Isn't
leg,
it Old English?
That's awful.
It's Old English, man. It's gangster. And so the NRL is full of dudes with shit tattoos. It always has been.
Yes.
But Taylor May is such a promising and talented player. I hate these guys that are in these amazing opportunities. They have this amount of he's 20 and he's got an Audi R8. Do you know how you have that Audi R8?
How do you think he got it?
Well, I think he got it from an NRL contract.
No.
Why? How do you think he got it?
It's a rental company that gave it to him because he tagged them in the video where he's doing 96 through the residential area.
Still though, how is he in a position to be in an Audi R8 through his NRL career?
Yeah.
Just don't stuff it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope he's not a dick.
Speaking of dick stuffing it up,
how was your weekend?
Schuster. Josh Schuster has been given 2 weeks leave away from the club. This coming after the club had said, look, you're more than welcome to go and negotiate with other clubs if you want to go and play there. The first one that was asked about it, I think, was the Dragons.
And Flanagan was like, nah.
He's like, nah, we don't actually need his position. What is his position, first of all?
Scucky back rower.
And then also, it's like, who pays for that? Are Manly going to end up in a situation like we were with Matt Lodge?
His
contract is 2.4 or something over 4 years. But it's the equivalent of $800,000. So
I feel like
a year.
He is the first player in history because I remember a news story coming out where his manager was like, "This is a $1 million plus a year guy."
Yeah,
and then everyone was just like, "Oh, okay, maybe he is."
Is it? Oh, sweet.
And then I'm like, "Yeah, sweet." And so now he's prices through the roof, but he definitely isn't. And his ability is there, his talent is undeniable.
How many times have we seen this where they give a player a massive deal?
Yeah,
and all that happens is they get $1 million worth of scrutiny, and it just capitulates them.
The Ash Campbell? No.
Ash Ketchum.
Who's
Ash Taylor.
Ash Taylor.
From the Titans, who came and played for about 2 months for us, had a cup of tea, got medically retired.
Or Luke Brooks at the Tigers?
Luke Brooks at the Tigers.
So actually, because I could see someone like Schuster being taken to a team like the Titans,
Yeah.
like a shitter team,
Yeah.
and they put all their stock in this dude who's flaky as and will not perform and is not very fit.
Yes. And the hopes that it puts a couple of bums in seats.
Exactly.
Because look at this guy throwing no-look passes at 120 kilos.
Which I love, man. The way he runs deep, used to run deep into the Manly line, and then it was sick, and that left side was hissing.
I'm probably way off on this, but my radar says this is a guy who got paid way too much, way too soon.
Definitely.
Then probably started crowing a bit around the club. Probably wanted a little bit of differential treatment. They sacked Kieran Foran for him so that he could play 6.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then what's happened to him is he's missed weight at the start of the season. They signed Luke Brooks probably as a way of being like, man, we hope Luke Brooks comes off.
Lights a fire.
And then we can bin this guy.
Yeah.
Burbo comes on. He's all of a sudden a star second row. He's playing in the centre because of injuries.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden Schuster finds himself on the outer. I don't know if it was orchestrated that way by Manly, but that's what's happened to him.
He is, you know what he is? He's a guy who's brilliant, and there's a there's a person that I know and you know who is like this too, who is fucking brilliant, but do not sign them up for a 4-year contract. Give them a contract year by year.
Pay them up front.
Because they will, as soon as they sign that long-term deal, they will do... the bare minimum. And so, of course, as soon as he signs the 4-year deal, he shows up unfit.
Yeah.
Of course, because he's got 4 years, he doesn't have to worry.
He just got renewed. He got signed on a long-term contract, and he knows he's going to get paid.
You see how good he is in 3 years' time. He will be insanely good because he has to get another contract.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's just the kind of guy I'm seeing.
Yeah. By the way, the person we're talking about at the ACC is me.
Definitely is.
Yeah. The hammer, I got paid up front and I've just been mailing it in ever since. There was no fire alarm. I'm not crook. The hammer, he's out. He's done his hammy. That's probably more interesting for Supercoach ramifications later on in the week.
It's a shame too because he's like the heart and soul of that Dolphins side, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a fucking man. I love him.
He was their star signing.
Yeah. He's brilliant. Like it's when he was picked for Queensland State of Origin last year, I was like, what?
He was excellent.
Are they seeing something I don't see? And then they put him in that system and he was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, they 100% are seeing something.
Yeah, 100%. And he has been part of what's given that team such an identity, him and our boy Jermaine.
I'd like to add a Jeremy Marshall King into that as well.
And I'd like to also throw you a Wayne Bennett, who was in the news this week as well, because it was reported that he may be going back to South Sydney at the end of this year because Jason Demetriou is on the outer. Basically, the club was saying before this weekend, if they don't win, he's gone. And
which
then,
is just a terrible way to do things.
And then, sorry, I'm just going to check my sheet here. 34, that's a bigger number than 22, eh?
Oh, it's a hiding.
Yeah. Okay, so the Rabbits did lose. And then he hasn't been sacked.
I think what's happened is, so how did this come about? Did someone leak it from within the club?
I think it was either the CEO or the chairman or something just literally came out and said it.
Right. And then
now they've come out and said, well, they didn't win, but they showed enough fight that it looks like he hasn't lost the locker room, so we're not going to sack him.
It's a shambles there, first of all.
Yeah.
It's definitely a shambles. But also, the injuries they have got, they're pretty substantial. Yeah. Like Campbell Graham, and like a lot of guys in the middle as well.
Cam Murray just went down, I think, on the weekend.
Cam Murray went down, so that's a head knock, so he'll be out for hopefully just one game. But
Latrell Mitchell got one of the more lenient suspensions I've ever seen.
And so,
here's what I think's happened. They said, if he loses this game, we're going to sack him. And then whoever they've been talking to replace him,
they reckon Mal Meninga,
has said, well, if I'm the front runner, I want double the salary you promised me. And they said, no, we're not going to do it. And he's like, well, then I'm out. And they're like, fuck, we need to buy ourselves a week here. What do we do? Because we said we're going to sack the guy. We'll come out and we'll say it was Hart. And then we'll sack him next week when us and Mel agree on whatever number it is. I reckon they're just they're kicking the can down the road. You don't come back from someone in the club saying they're going to bin the guy.
Yeah.
You don't come back from that because that hangs over you.
Hell yeah.
Because every time that they're having an argument about he's stacked the dishwasher wrong or he's left his bloody clothes next to the hamper and not in the bloody thing, or he's left the washing in the washing machine, he could have just taken it out and put it in the dryer. It's right on top of it.
It's just been sitting there for days. And what are you going to do? Just chuck another, put it through another cycle?
You're going to have to now at this point. So,
what have we made, a laundry powder?
Well, Edge didn't put the bins out last week, so now our bins are bloody overflowing. Where are you going to put the rest of that rubbish?
God.
I forgot what the point
Are
of this.
things all good at home?
I forgot what the point of this metaphor was.
Yeah, no, neither. But I think you're right.
Sorry. When all of that stuff happens, you bring up the fact that, you guys were going to sack me last week anyway. So this is...
Yeah, right.
It's too far gone. They have to get rid of him now that they've said this.
You cannot have... And I think last year it was the Dragons coach, I think Anthony Griffin maybe,
Yep.
that this sort of situation happened. Like, it was leaked early that they were going to get rid of him.
Yeah. You have to.
You can't come back from that.
No, you can't. Because every time the coach walks in, he's going to be like, well, what do you care, man? You're going to sack me anyway, so I don't have your
It's like finding
support.
out that... And I hate to be the one to tell you this, bro, but your missus is thinking of dumping you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I leak it, and also she's in chats with another bloke. She's lining up to take your place.
Yeah, and it's Mel Manaia.
And it's Mel Manaia. There's no way you're going to come back from that, even if you show a lot of heart over the weekend.
Yeah, that.
You went to Kaylee Bell with her.
I showed a lot of heart.
You left the Warriors early, but guess what?
Yeah.
She's just pushed it back another week because Big Mel's getting his shit together
And Madge Maguire's going to be in the corner of the room watching. So, yeah, there's a bit going on.
Yeah,
I just don't think there's any coming back. I think he's gone. I think he's done.
So what are the odds do you think that he's there by the end of the season still?
No, zero. I mean, I never want to say zero, but I reckon very low. I reckon the TAB wouldn't let you bet on it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's that. And I think Wayne Bennett will come back for one more year next year, try and turn it all around, and then either sail off into the sunset or have a stroke from dealing with Latrell for a year.
Well, apparently he's the Latrell whisperer, though.
Well, he's got to be. Well, that's what they were saying is the problem with Jason Demetrio is that
You can't whisper to Latrell.
he can't whisper to Latrell.
You got to whisper to Latrell. You got to learn to talk to Cody because he can be a hot-headed dude. You got to know how to talk to Jack Whiten. You got to not bench Cookie.
Yeah, and I think the biggest part is that Latrell basically just looked at him and was like, sorry, what did you say? Oh, because I can't remember you doing any of this stuff, so why don't you just leave it to me? Whereas Wayne Bennett's done everything in the game, so he can sort of say that. So I think that's what they need, and I just can't see him sticking around for much longer. All right, one more break, and I've got some stats
Okay.
to impress the ladies. All right, just before my voice gives out on this podcast, Chris Key, it's time for stats to impress the ladies.
Oh, yeah.
After round 6, the Warriors lead the league in total kicks,
Oh, wow.
as well as all run meter stat categories. Kick
Really?
returns, run meters, the whole shit. DWZ now leads the league in intercepts with 3.
Oh, shit, that's good.
Sean Johnson and DCE were the only 2 players on the weekend still remaining from the 2011 Grand Final.
Oh, shit, that is so good.
The Warriors committed 13 errors against Manly's 10 on the weekend, including the one Tohu put down, but we'll let that slide.
Oh, that's not that great.
Charles Nickel Clockstad ran for 346 metres,
Oh,
which is exactly the length of
the Sky Tower.
Baldwin Street.
Oh, wow, Dunedin.
346 metres exactly.
That is shit hot.
And finally, Jackson Ford had 20 post-contact metres, which is exactly the distance between the try line and the 20-metre line.
Oh, yeah, that...
So, fellas, if you ever get in trouble for chucking on a dry-ass rugby league podcast, just skip to the end.
We should start putting this at the start to up the female listenership.
They'd be pretty disappointed when we then just got into some earnest rugby league analysis.
Yeah, it'd be pretty classic Manaia, though. Start real strong and then just fucking peter out.
Peter out once I've signed the big 4-year extension. So that'll do us for today on the Mad Monday podcast. Thank you to 4 and 20 Pies.
See you this Friday, 8 o'clock. Sky Sport 9 for me and Manaia doing the old Dragons Wars game.
Let's go.
And Australia without rugby league is not Australia.